Well, welcome to the podcast.
Here we are.
There's someone new.
Whoa!
Right.
It's not
It's
normally
not
here.
Johnny.
I know.
I'm,
a little taller,
I'm
a
a
little
little
hairier.
tired of you guys talking about me while I'm behind over there. The cameras.
We
And I
did
can't
mention
defend
you.
myself.
That's
so
true.
I decided, you know what? I'm going to put myself on this so I
Okay.
can defend myself in person.
Anything
And
you'd
Johnny's not
like-
even in the
anything you'd
room,
like to
so
say?
we can say whatever we want.
That's true.
Poor
Yeah.
Johnny, he's not here. You're so mean.
He deserves it.
This is gonna be great. Well, welcome, Mike, to
Thank
the
you.
podcast.
Thank you.
Our executive pastor.
Ooh, wow. What a name.
Yeah.
Mike, not
Because I execute people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. We're starting off strong right now.
Intense. Okay. How was everybody's weekend?
Mine was great. I got a spray tan. I got more hair products.
I don't believe
Oh my
this.
gosh.
I don't
I
believe
put
this
on-
at all.
I put on makeup.
I have to cut this out. Absolutely not.
We are not cutting this out.
Oh my
If
God.
you don't know, that was a Facebook post somebody put about us. And apparently I wear makeup and I have a spray tan. And I actually do put
Hair
conditioner
product
in my hair for sure.
Just conditioner?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
What about shampoo?
Well,
Oh.
okay. After the shower,
Oh.
extra conditioner.
Okay.
Okay.
But I do
Okay.
not do spray tans. But I felt good that somebody thought it was that dark.
I
That
think
nice.
it was the corduroy blazer you had on this Sunday. You looked schmancy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You
It's
were
extra
fancy.
fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Extra
It
fancy.
was great.
Yeah. So I had a great weekend.
Oh my gosh.
I've been waiting to share
You
that.
really have. You were holding it in. Oh man. How about you, Mike?
Mine was less, I guess, hair intensive.
Not
yeah.
much pampering.
No, not much at all.
Did you get a spray tan though?
No.
Ah.
Actually, I got whiter, so negative.
Same.
Yeah.
don't
No, yeah,
tan
because
at
I
all.
didn't do anything. We only left the house a couple times. Did a lot of sitting around, chores.
That's the best.
That's a
type
good
of
weekend because you guys are pretty busy. I mean,
We
with
are, yeah.
swimming
We've
and-
got 2 kids in swim, and then Mason's playing basketball now. So we've got there's something every night of the week, usually practice. But somehow this weekend there was no practices and no swim meets. So
Wow.
we're chilling, doing nothing.
Love it.
You
I
know what
love
people
weekends
don't
like
know about Mike is that Mike was a very good basketball player.
Really?
So has Mason picked that up?
Well, okay. First of all, very good is relative. I don't know about that. He is learning and enjoying and having fun, and so that's all I care about.
Yeah. Yeah.
His coach the other day, I wasn't there, but Hillary was there practice, and they were doing like a scrimmage. I don't know, maybe 5-on-5. And he said, someone asked about the score. He said, listen, the score is having fun to having fun. He said, that's what the score is.
I love that. Love that.
That's funny. How was your weekend?
Thank you for asking.
Yes, of course.
It was good. What did we do? I don't think we did much either. Sometimes I get to the weekend and I'm so tired
Mhm.
that I'm like, we had plans Saturday night and we were like, yeah, no, let's just cancel and
Yeah.
stay home.
Mhm.
We just needed the rest. So we
Nice.
did. It was great. hmm
Sounds good.
It was really good. Well, I watched that Frankenstein movie on Netflix. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Oh, was that new one?
Yes, based off of
Good.
Mary Shelley's novel. I really liked it. I thought the message was really good. The cinematography, to quote Johnny, was gorgeous. And
Wow.
yeah, no, it was. I really liked it. I enjoyed
Oh.
it. Brandon liked it too. And we're
And it's
not
on
really
Netflix?
like monster movie people, but like this was just it was very well done. So yeah, it was on Netflix. Mhm.
Okay.
Frankenstein.
Did you wait till like after Halloween to watch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not like a big spooky movie person. This one's not spooky, but like just I kept seeing like previews for it. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I'm very intrigued by this. And the guy, Jacob Elordi, who plays Frankenstein, everybody's like, oh man, he did such a good job. So I was like, okay, he's getting good reviews for being a monster. I got to check this out. And actually it was very good. The theme of the story or the message of the movie was great. So
Huh.
if you are into that, I would
Never
say.
heard anyone say they enjoyed a Frankenstein movie because of the theme.
Because of the
I
thing.
know,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's a
And I
good
think that's
story.
why it was surprising.
Okay.
Huh.
So I liked it.
Do you know what I heard about? It was kind of a Halloween comment today that Michael Jackson, God rest his soul,
I was gonna say, yeah, where are we going with
R.I.P.
this?
he just became the first person ever to have a number one hit in 6 decades.
Whoa.
And they
6
were-
decades.
Yeah, so I was like, wait, what?
What?
And
What song?
it was Thriller
No
because
way.
of Thriller came back up as the number one because of Halloween.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I
That's
was like,
crazy.
also, I mean, that song's been number 1 before. We count it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know
So-
it worked like that.
I didn't either.
That's
They
cool.
like in my kids' school or elementary school, they do like a Halloween dance every year, and they rotate through I think like only like 3 songs because they're Halloween songs. And Thriller
Yeah.
was always one of them.
Always.
And so when they do it, which they did it this year, it gets played probably 30, 40 times. You know,
You're-
my house. leading
You're
up to
lucky that your school rotates through 3 songs. My kids' at school, it's Thriller every year.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the elementary schools, I think they, you know,
They
the
must
kids
play
are
it.
learning
Everyone's
it and
doing it.
listening to it and playing it. So I
The
think that
funny thing is,
helps.
it's the same dance. It's
Yep.
the same chord, everything.
Yep.
So now I have a daughter who's in 8th grade, but my son is in 6th grade. And so he was like so excited. I'm like, but this is the same. It's this, we've seen it. Like, we've seen it so many times.
Oh, yeah.
But every year it's like, you're going to come watch the
It
Thriller
made me
dance.
wonder when did Michael Jackson have his first?
Well, Jackson 5.
I know, but that was in the 60s?
Oh, I'm not doing math right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Man.
It's crazy. I know he
Yeah.
died when I was in college, which was like 20 some odd years ago. Because,
It was 16,
yep, I was in
2009.
Mm-hmm.
We came back from a mission trip and we were on the airplane
Yeah.
and found out.
I
And
was
we were
gonna-
like, that's kind of crushing.
That's one of those things where you remember where you were because
Yeah.
I was driving to work, and so I remember I was like on the freeway and like the radio because I didn't have a car with a CD player back then, so we had to listen to the radio.
Mhm.
The radio announced it, and I was like, "Whoa, what?" So,
So you may remember where you were, but as you established last podcast, you're older than me. So
Yeah.
I don't remember. I was
okay,
I was too young.
whatever.
He was
One day.
he was being weaned.
It's hilarious. All right, let's talk about this past weekend. We started a new series, Money
Yay.
Talks. How do you feel like it went?
Money is not my favorite topic to
Mm.
talk about because there's so much baggage that's attached to it.
Yeah.
And there's probably a lot of people have had bad experiences with it, with churches. And so, you know, it's so difficult. But man, the number of comments that I got, you know, from like my friends are all, typically going to be pretty positive,
Right.
but most of these people were people I didn't know,
Yeah.
you know, that shared, hey, this is what God spoke to me. Hey, you know, this is where I felt convicted, or hey, this is where I felt encouraged. I've never thought about it from this standpoint, you know, stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
you know, I know it's not for everybody, and there's some people that I'm sure they're turned off when it comes to money because it's just an immediate. It's like I think about it like, you ever gotten sick at some point in your life where the last thing that you ate, you attach it to that sickness?
Yes, and you can't eat it again. For
Can't
me,
eat
it's
it again.
chocolate and coconut
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. So I feel like, wow, man, that's an almond joy. That's
I
like
know.
perfect.
It's not good.
Oh,
Not perfect,
So,
but anyway.
it's pretty good. So I kind of view it like that. Like if you had a bad church experience that dealt with money, and then you come into a new church and somebody talks about money, you get that sickening feeling.
Yeah, well, that's a
And
good way to
I-
describe it.
It stinks because I can't do anything to redeem that except be who we are. And, you know, Love in Action, I hope, redeems some of that a little bit because, you know, we're giving this money away. This is not
Yeah.
about, you know, people getting bigger houses or whatever the different things that people, you know, us getting a jet so I can fly around the world, you know,
Right.
whatever the things are that people associate it with. This is like Love in Action is literally give it all away. So that helps,
Yeah,
but it's still
It's a
still
tough
tough.
suck.
And I had friends that were there this weekend, you know, that have not stepped foot in Front Range before, and
and they
you know.
came for a money series for the first
yeah, I mean, well,
time.
they came for child dedication, and you know, and which is awesome,
Yeah.
like awesome. But I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry. So
It's like one of
It's all
those when you
good.
bring a guest for the first time, and
Yes.
it's like, oh, they're talking about money.
they're talking about
Sorry.
money,
But I
Yay.
thought it was a really good message. I mean, I love that you approached it from looking at the parables, and just Jesus did talk about money more than almost anything else.
Yeah.
So I
other
think,
than the kingdom of God,
yeah,
yeah.
Real question from this past weekend, because I know you say that a lot, pastors say that a lot about, you know, money being difficult and people having baggage around it. Did you have anyone this weekend that gave you any sort of, you know, negative, not necessarily negative feedback, but you talked about that baggage or talked about that, you know, topic being one that they didn't want to hear?
Yeah, I had two people that their feedback was very positive, but they said when I came in and I realized this is what we're talking about, I thought, oh great. One of them said is because they've invited friends before that then those friends got really turned off because of how the the pastor talked about it. And then the other one, just had a previous church situation that wasn't ideal. But in referencing that, they were saying, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Like, so we're like in the redemption business, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just like seeing people accept Christ and go to heaven. It's about all the things, you know, it's about all of life and redeeming all of that. So when you get a couple of those, you're like, all right, God, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't get any negative emails yet. Or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's positive.
Mine's coming, but it's
I know. I
it
get it
time.
every time. Thanks, Mike.
I'm consistent.
Oh man. Well, you mentioned Love in Action, and I want to talk about that for a second. So just to give anyone who might be, we found out we have people who listen who don't necessarily go to our church. So what that is every year around this time of year, we raise a significant amount of money. We're aiming for $270,000 this year. And all of that money goes back out. We give it to local people local partners that or local organizations that we partner with. My goodness, that was hard for me to say. Sorry. And then as well as global missions and community events and things like that. So do you want to talk about that at all, Love in Action? I mean, I think it's really cool. I'm one of those people who struggles with, I've been a part of churches who I've seen handle finances very poorly. And so when we started coming here, we really appreciated how you guys do Love in Action. It's like one of my favorite times of year now. So
Yeah, I love Love in Action. I mean, it's hard for somebody to argue against you're giving all this money away.
yeah.
And people love to be, I believe that in the heart of people, we want to be generous. We desire to be generous. So I love the responses that I get from the partners, the missionaries, that they're, even though they know they're in the booklet,
Yeah.
right? They're just surprised at how generous our church is.
That's
and
awesome.
I love that. I love that like our church is known as that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I know this. How long have we been doing Love in Action?
Ooh. I feel like we might have skipped a couple years.
Yeah, we
It
didn't
goes
do it
way back.
Yeah, probably 2000, maybe like 17.
Okay.
And then we didn't do it during the 2 years of the
COVID.
capital campaign.
Oh, okay.
We gave a portion of that money away, but we
Okay.
didn't
Yeah.
do it. We didn't feel like we could do
Both.
both.
That makes
That'd be
sense.
kind of weird.
Mhm.
So we still gave a ton of money away.
Mhm.
We just didn't do the actual campaign attached to the capital campaign.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
love though that it's like this tradition. Like
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's had a few iterations. We haven't always done like the booklet piece
Right.
with it. We've done the cards,
Oh
I
gosh,
think, almost
that,
every year, and that was actually the cards started
that's the
first.
first. Yep.
Before we even actually made it like a big fundraising
campaign.
initiative.
Mm-hmm.
It actually was just the cards, just encouraging people to, do an act
something
of
kind.
kindness for someone else.
Yeah.
So that's how it started, and then it eventually, got bigger and bigger.
Yep.
Yeah. And I love what we're doing this year with it all culminating to Love in Action Week of us like doing all these different things. I
Yeah.
think that's so cool.
And that's
I'm
the thing
excited
about it. It's if you look in the booklet, it's not just raising money.
Yeah.
I mean, our kids on December 7th in our kids ministry, they're going to be putting together packets for aging resources of Douglas County because when
Mhm.
they take their seniors out to go look at lights, then they get this little gift bag from the
That's
kids in
I
our
love-
kids
oh my
ministry.
gosh,
Like
that's awesome.
then there's the Love in Action week, and every
Yeah.
day there's something that you can do. We have the Love in Action cards that are out every single weekend out in the lobby area. So it's not just we want to raise a ton of money
Right.
and give that away. It's like, how do we also, and then even having the partners here,
Mhm.
go meet the partners, go find out what they're doing, go see how you can serve.
Yeah, I love that. How do we decide like who gets the money? Like how do we divvy that up? What's the process there?
Yeah, that's we've gone through different iterations of that one as well. We've always had some type of partnership, whether I mean missions, local, and then church planting. We've always had that.
Okay.
It's just who.
Yeah.
It's figuring out the who. So the missions has been pretty consistent the last few years. The partners have been very consistent.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, like this year we're adding in FCA, but besides
Mhm.
that, I think it's the same partners for years.
Okay.
But that's not always been the case. We've had other partners in there, and so it just depends. Like if we had A21 one time. That's a global organization,
Mhm.
and they're doing great things. But Then we found a local organization that's doing some other great things as
Yeah.
well. And we would like to stay as local as possible. And that doesn't mean we don't have global. We have 3 global. So, but we took one global, the A21,
Yeah.
and moved it to
Made it more local.
FCA. And yeah. So, and then how much? Honestly, I try to look at what I know their needs are,
Yeah.
conversations that I have with them, and then just try to figure out what the breakdown will be. I mean,
Okay.
there's no special formula. Unfortunately, that'd be nice if there was. But it's really
I didn't know if
just-
we give like equally or
we give very equally.
Okay.
The only place I would say that's not true is probably the church planning, and that just depends on where they are. So some guys are trying to get into a building,
Yeah.
so you need more.
Yeah.
You know, the guys that are brand new, they need less. Guys, the guys who are listening, I apologize, because they would say, "No, we don't, Ernest. We need more." They need less right now, but because many of them have a bunch of support coming in right now. Year 1, year 2 is usually a lot of support. So how do we support them year 3, year 4, year 5? So our support of them might go up in those years, but they need if they're year 1 right now, they don't need as much. So we might give them like say $5,000, and we might give the guy who's trying to get into a building $15,000.
Okay. That makes sense.
So
yeah.
it's just trying to see needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who makes the financial decisions and the oversight? Is it you, Mike?
I mean, it's certainly spread out on teams that handle certain things. As far as you mentioned partners. When you look at like money we give out to benevolence, people that ask for money. So we have a team made up of some of our pastors that kind of make those decisions.
Not me.
Yeah, it's true. You're not on that team. We kicked you off.
Yep.
You said yes to everybody.
He really does.
I'm like, yes, that's fine. We'll do it. And they're like, we have no money. We'll figure it out.
And that's it's a process that, we have people that need money in our community. And we've kind of established a process there, a hierarchy of all right, we're going to meet needs, starting with, people in our church and then, people who are in our community. And so, we get requests all the time. And so we make decisions based on that. It's a team thing. We make those choices. When it comes to like overall church finances, especially like budgets, things like that, our elders are involved in that process. And so our elders approve our budget every year that we have. So it comes from the ministry leaders that work creating the budget. Ernest and I kind of go over and make sure that our overall, how much are we going to actually, be able to budget total, what that looks like, setting some of the budgets like church planning and benevolence and things like that, kind of setting the overall budget, combine all that together, present it to the elders. We go over line by line and talk about everything. They ask questions, all that stuff. They vote on it. They approve it. So they help make that decision.
It is a tedious meeting.
I was going to say, I didn't know you guys go line by line. That's crazy.
Yeah. Sometimes I've tried to get away from it as just kind of like a summary, but then usually they have questions. So I'm like, well, we're going to have to go line by line. To clear this up. A lot of financial decisions either made by a team of, some of our pastors, some are made by the elders. And then within that, Ernest and I, might make some financial decisions when it comes to just certain things within the budget. How much are we going to spend on, this particular project here or this initiative or, giving to certain church planning partners, things like that. So it is definitely spread out. I'm probably, I guess, the common denominator in the different areas, trying to help oversee that. But we try to keep a team approach as much as we can.
Yeah.
And then we bring the financial update every month to our elders. And they can obviously ask any questions regarding that as well. And then our elders, there's kind of, the way I view it is there's 4 levels of authority that they have. I won't go through those, but sometimes it's just input authority where I'm just asking, hey, we're thinking about this. What do you guys think? And then sometimes there's voting authority.
Okay.
And so sometimes in the financial decisions, there's voting authority. Sometimes it's not. But even like last night, we were discussing something that is going to cost us something to be able to bless our people. And I just said, hey, here's the idea. And our lead elder was like, what authority do we have on this? This is just input, right? And I said, yeah, but if you guys are like we
really
hate
against
this,
it.
then we're not going to do it. Like
Yeah.
input doesn't mean that I disregard your input, you know? So they maintain the information, the discussion, the questions, the voting, all of that throughout the year, not just in voting for the budget.
Yeah. Is there any other pieces of accountability when it comes to finances?
It's a great question. Yes. So we use an outside accounting firm that handles all of our books. So they take all the information, the money that comes in, all that stuff. They're the ones that are keeping track of expenses, balancing the books, our bank accounts, all that stuff. So they have access to everything we do. And so they're the ones who are making sure that everything's lining up. And they usually have at least one or two questions for me every month of like, hey, we saw this, come out of the checking account. What was this for? I have to provide them a receipt and also provide them with, description of the expense. And so they oversee everything. They make sure everything is above board. They make sure our, checks and balances are in place. They're the ones who are actually reconciling all of our transactions. So they see everything that we spend as a church goes through them. And so they're the ones who I kind of, have to give everything over to so that they have that. They can then prepare reports. They then send to me, which I then disseminate to the different team members.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a, yes, there's only certain people who can spend money in the church. And Ernest is actually not one of them. Can't sign any checks. I can't do anything.
I'm an inquirer.
It's really good because we all know if we want more money, you would say yes, but Mike usually says no.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
That is so true.
I get a bad reputation, I'm not gonna lie, because a lot of times because we do have church credit cards and there's limited amounts on them, and a lot of times people need to spend more, like Shannon when she needs to buy food for holiday baskets and has to ask me permission to spend the money, which feels weird, but also like a little power trip.
No, but I really liked this year. I just asked for it all up front, and then nobody else could ask for money because I took it all.
It did. It happened. She asked for all this money for the food for the holiday baskets, and then I got 2 other requests for money, and I went to approve it, and the app literally was like, "You're out of money, man." And I told them, I said,
awesome.
"Guys, Shannon took all the
I
money."
was like, "It's my fault, guys. Sorry."
Yeah. So yeah, everything staff wise, it kind of runs through me, and then from me it goes out to the accountants that we have that are ones making sure that everything lines up, everything is above board of what we're doing.
We also had an outside organization 6 years ago.
3 or 4. It was after COVID. I know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Come in and just review all of our guidelines and look at all and then just give us a ton of suggestions. And
Yeah.
it was kind of the first step before you do an audit. And people will say, well, are you thinking about doing it? Yeah, we've thought about audits multiple times, but it's kind of cost prohibitive until you get to a certain level in your budget. Once you get to a certain place in your budget, then it makes sense. But it's been, the wisdom that we've received is wait till you get to this point because it's so expensive to do an audit. That doesn't make sense when your budget's this small. So I wish our budget was this big that we got to do an audit,
Right.
but it's not there yet.
Speaking of budgets, we do a lot throughout the year, like, the Thanksgiving boxes. And I mean, our different ministries do a lot. Like, how do we know what to budget for?
Yeah. So there's really in the church world, there's really like 4 buckets, if you will, that let's say take it like your budget's a pie. So it's really 4 slices of the pie. Yeah. And so for us, what we do is we give anywhere between typically 10 and 15. We've done, I think one year was 17% is giving away. So it's all outreach stuff, benevolence, church planting, missions, all of that stuff. The minimum is 10. 5% of that has to be church planting. That's in our bylaws. And that's because I want to make sure whether I'm here or not that this church is constantly planting new churches. So we do at least 10% because God calls us to do that personally. So we just felt like as a church, we also should be doing that. Like if we're an organization, I think we should do that too. So that's our first pie, is at 10 to 15%. And then the second pie is typically staffing. Staffing is usually 50% of the pie as a whole. That's where most churches want to sit.
Yeah.
When you're younger, it's, or in your early days, it could be up to like 60, 65%.
Yeah.
As you get larger or whatever, it might trail down to 45. Typically, you don't see a church less than 45.
Okay.
If they do, they're doing something where they're like contracting kids people, and they're taking that out of their kids ministry rather than out of their staffing
I
pie.
see it. Yep. That makes sense. Yep.
Then you have your ministry pie, and ministry pie is typically about 20%. That's all the money you use to do
All
ministry.
the events and things like that.
Everything, yeah.
Mhm.
From cafe
Services,
supplies
yeah.
to
Custom.
custom to kids supply, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then typically you want to be at like 20% for building, somewhere in that range.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We're definitely nowhere near any of those numbers right now. We used to be really low on budget. I mean, on building.
Yep.
And
those were the
Well, we
days.
were portable.
perfect on staffing.
Yep.
Ministry was a little bit higher, and giving was a little bit higher than those
The building kind of
averages.
sent us into a little bit of a chaos.
It did. What's fascinating is it did not change our giving though.
That's awesome.
Like, I remember somebody before we got into the building, they said, I've walked through this with multiple churches. I'm worried because I've seen churches change, like their heart changed. And I said, well, my prayer is that a year from now, you'll be able to say, man, we have not changed. Like,
That's
our
awesome.
heart for the community is still the same. And I think if you were with us a year and a half ago when we were in Renaissance to today, I think the only thing you could say is we're now able to do more.
Right,
in the
because
community.
we have a building that
Yep.
we love to resource. So.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, the temptation would be, hey, love in action. Let's take some of that pie
Let's
and
take a
put
little
it,
bit of that.
put it toward the the mortgage or something like
Yep.
that. But
Yep.
like we say, all the money goes out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how you look at a budget typically. You want to be in those ranges. We're not in those ranges right now because the building is it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we also know we're reaching a ton of people, and eventually it will even itself out. This is always the growing pains. This is what our elders, before we made the decision to launch into a building campaign and buy land and all that, is what they had to process. We knew that we would be in growing pains for a season where our budget, you don't want to look at percentages because we would feel like we're way off.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you want to look at percentages, shoot me an email.
Yep.
I was just going to
Happy
ask.
to disclose where we spend in those buckets, as Pastor Ernest just said.
Yep.
We obviously keep track of that. We create financial reports. We've always been open about if anybody wants to see that. You can email finances@frontrange.org. You could just email me, mikeswright@frontrange.org. Happy to send that over. And you can see, where we're at. We don't hide anything. Just say, yeah, here it is.
And we used to be very proactive with that.
Yeah.
Like, we used to send out an annual report, and it was this beautiful thing that we would pay this person to create and all this stuff. And nobody looked at it.
Yeah.
Like, 3 people would open it. We're like,
Yeah.
all right, we're going to stop spending money to show you our money.
I'm going to be
So
honest.
just ask.
I'm not a big finance person. Even on Sunday, I had to lean over and ask Brandon. I'm like, what's an ROI? And I don't remember what he said.
That's awesome.
So
No, that's the reality. That's what we found, at least. Like, the majority of people don't actually. They might think that they care, and they may care. They don't care
Yeah.
enough to open it. So then we just say, that's fine. Come, we're not going to spend money on doing that then.
Yeah.
So just come to us, and
Yeah.
we'll show you.
Yeah.
What do you want to see? We'll show you, because we want to be
I think
very
that's great.
open, very authentic.
That's awesome. So we don't do any regimented financial meetings this time, anything like that. But it's an open book. You can ask
Yeah.
at any time.
You talking about congregational?
I mean, sometimes, they'll
no.
have finance meetings and,
That sounds incredibly boring.
I know.
Yes, my buddies that do it, many of them have churches our size, and so I'm like, how many people come to those? And they're like 12, 13. And I'm like, I'm not spending 2 hours going over a budget for 12 people. We can have coffee.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. What is the church's view on debt?
Ooh, speaking of building.
we have it.
Yeah.
Are we trying to not have any debt? Is there a goal in the future, financial wise?
I view the church like I view my own. I hate any debt. Hate it. Stresses me out. Gives me gray hairs quicker. Sometimes it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Like, most people that I know have debt on their home.
Yep.
And yet we would say we want or need a home. You at least need a roof.
Yeah.
So I view it like that. Like this was a necessity to get in here. We've seen God do like amazing
Really cool
things.
things.
Oh, yeah.
And it stresses me out.
Mm.
I mean, it is not Mike. I'm so thankful for Mike because he's the most even keel. Just we're good, but he like sees
He
everything
really is, yeah.
from like he sees the stuff from like, oh man, we could be in trouble if.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like the optimist. So I'm like, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. People are going to give. Trust God, please. You know, like, but
My
I'm just
earring
like
just fell out.
constantly, nice.
Yeah.
I'm constantly just an optimist when it comes to that
Yeah.
stuff. And Mike is not a pessimist or an optimist. He's just, this is what it is. And most of the time we're going to be fine.
Again,
know,
you guys
this-
balance each other really well because Ernest just says yes and Mike says no.
Yeah, that's why I tell everyone on staff, can't spend any money. Sorry. Figure it out. Not my
This
problem.
is not going to go back in, so
That's all right. You're missing an earring.
leave that right
Good
there.
timing. I could take a Dr.
This
Pepper
is a
break.
mess.
Yep.
Great. That's awesome. All right. Back on track. Do we have any, I was going to ask, do we have any goals for our giving and growth in giving? Like, we're here now, but in 5 years, we want to see ourselves here.
I mean, we would love to be back to those percentages
Yeah.
that I just talked about. That would
Mm.
be the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
The best way to do that is either pay off significant amount of that debt or increase giving.
Okay.
Do we have somebody that or people that could do that? For sure. Like,
Yeah.
I would say most churches have a few people that could give a significant amount. But I don't hold my breath for that.
Right.
So that either that has to happen or everybody has to go, this is my home
yeah.
and I'm pitching in. So one of those two things has to happen for us
Yeah.
to get to that. But that, to me, that's our goal. Our goal is to get back to those percentages so that we can, like right now, I mean, we've grown significantly where we are in our attendance. I told one of our elders last night, we should have at least 3 more full-time employees. There's not a chance we could hire 3 more full-time employees right now. Like, I mean, we could, but I'd have more gray
We
hairs.
have things for them to
And-
do, but just,
Yeah, right, exactly.
They would need to
So-
work for free.
Yeah.
yeah. So if anybody wants to raise their own support, honestly, that's kind of where we are. It's like I'd love to get to a place where we go, you know what? We do have the margin to hire staff that we desperately need. We don't. So
What's the tension, or do you feel like there's a tension between trusting God for provision and being smart with finances?
that's a tough one. I mean, I would say is trusting God and going off of experience versus the being prudent maybe.
Yeah.
So I mean, the building was a perfect example of that for us. We looked at it and we go, okay, the mortgage, when we decided to do this, the mortgage payment was more per month than we were bringing in financially.
Whew.
So just let that sink in
I
for a
didn't
moment.
know that.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, okay, is God really calling us to do this?
Yeah.
And so we prayed and fasted. As elders, we had lots of discussions. But what we also did is we talked to other churches who were portable like us, got into a building and asked them, what did your attendance do? What did your giving do? Like, we want to know what the track record is. We didn't take 1 or 2 because you can always find outliers.
Yeah.
So we just asked a ton.
Yeah.
And not mostly in this area because that's where we live.
That's where we
right?
are.
We
Makes
don't want to be
sense.
like, what happens in Atlanta?
Yeah.
I mean, well, we could be 8,000 by now.
Or
you
even
know, like-
downtown Denver, I feel like is
Exactly.
so different
Oh,
from
yeah.
suburbia,
So different.
Castle Rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how about this area? Similar to us in Colorado, and everybody said, "Man, you're gonna grow." The church lending company that we use for servicing our building, they do hundreds of these.
Yeah.
So they've seen it over and over, and they're like, "Hey, just trust us on this." We actually had to bring them in though to talk to our elders because we were all like, I don't know. This is
This feels scary.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very scary. And we just got to the place where we went, is God asking us to take a step of faith? COVID, at that time, actually, let's back up a little bit before COVID, the churches were being kicked out of schools in New York. And so we were like, I mean, our politics aren't too far off from New York. So that could happen here. So what are we going to do there?
Yeah.
And then COVID hit and we're like, we literally just got kicked out. We have no control. Like we had a friend of ours leave the church because basically we like we really didn't have a place to meet. And like somehow that was like our fault. It was like, well, the governor said you're bowing to the governor. I'm like, we literally can't meet.
Yeah.
Like it's not a bowing we don't have a place.
Yeah.
So like we can't break into a school.
Right. What do you want
I'm
us
not going to
do?
jail.
I know.
So
I mean, didn't you guys at least I think I heard, I wasn't here for COVID, but you guys congregated in the Hobby Lobby parking lot. Like you
All
did
over the
what
place.
exactly you could do.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah.
I
Lots of parking
climbed on
lots.
top of a trailer in the Hobby
Yeah.
Lobby parking lot while I see lightning striking right over there. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to die, but let me hold this microphone. And if you want to worship the Lord, turn on your blinkers and your wipers, Like,
It was
I'm going to
actively
die.
raining.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
What a time.
so then COVID hits and we're like, I mean, is there really any better time to trust the Lord? Like, so we just had to make a leap and we decided to. We're really grateful we did, but it does come with challenges and it does come with fear for me.
Yeah.
That like, oh man, what if? I've told probably 100 pastors, like, hey, here's our situation. Here's how much the building costs. Here's how much money we had coming in prior.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh. I say, so in a year, if I call you, I just need a job. Like, just give me a job.
Like just
So
keep me on your list.
I'm still here after a year.
Yep.
So we're still open, praise God. But yeah, I think God wants you to step out more in faith than anything else. We challenge our kids to do that in their own personal finances. We do that in our own finances. Don't be stupid, obviously, but stupidity and faith sometimes can look the same. So you just have to like go, God, what are you saying? And then try to really hear clearly from the Holy Spirit. And if he says yes, then it's faith. If it says no, then it's stupidity.
And I feel like usually he will send people into your life to confirm when it's big decisions like that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he's clear.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of a balance between trusting God and seeking wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you can get a yes on both of those,
Yes.
then
that's a
I don't
very
think we had
clear
anyone
path.
that we sought wisdom from tell us no.
No.
In fact, we almost had the opposite. I remember one time we brought in my cousin, who's a pastor over at Seacoast. We brought him in. This is when we were just starting the building, getting ready to start the building process. We had shown it to the church and all that stuff. We had the building plans, and he looked at the building plans and he goes, "I got to be honest. I think you're building too small." And I was like, "You want to fork over another million?
Yeah,
Then we
you're
can
like,
build
what-
buildings."
We can.
But,
what do you want me to do?
we're stretching ourselves as thin as we can
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else we can do.
Yeah.
But every person we sought wisdom from said, "Yeah,
Go.
do it."
Yeah. That's
awesome.
funny. I hear that. I've heard that a few times, especially over the last few weeks. It's
Why
very
did we
clear to
build it
everybody.
too
Gosh, yeah, everyone's
Like, oh man, I
asking.
think we built too small. I'm like, we built with what we had.
Yeah.
Actually, we didn't even have it. We built with what we didn't have.
Yeah, we were already taking a
Yes.
large
Yes.
step of faith,
So
and it
Yeah.
already feels a bit tight.
my wife would love for me not to die of a heart attack because I'm stressed about the finances. So we did about as much as
As you
maybe my
could
heart
do.
can handle.
That's awesome.
Well, that's the secret, about Ernest mentioned his goals earlier. Finance once gets back to
Yeah.
the percentages. I don't know if we will or not, because the next step is we
You gotta
got to
expand.
expand
We
this
gotta
place,
expand.
and then you start the cycle over
Thanks,
again.
Mike.
Yeah,
It's
I just
awesome.
felt another gray hair.
You're welcome.
It's awesome that we're there
Yeah.
already, but crazy at the same time. This year has felt like such a whirlwind
Yeah.
year of just God moving
Just
and
hanging on.
yeah. And that's the thing about seeing everything that God's doing. You're just like, oh, I'm like so excited to be a part of it. And then there is the issue of things cost money in our day and age. What would you say to encourage somebody who wrestles with this idea of churches asking for money and needing money and for buildings and things like that? Because I know that's a hard thing sometimes. People try to reconcile it and they're like, I don't know, and should we be spending money on things like this? And what would you say?
For me personally, I kind of view it like a doctor or a dentist. I'm going to go give my money to a dentist. And if I don't trust him or her, I'm going to go to a different dentist.
Yeah.
So trust is the key factor there. So if I'm never going to give my money to a doctor I don't trust, right? but I'm going to give my money to a doctor.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen. I'm going to give my money to a dentist. That's just going to happen, or whatever. Name the thing. Church is such a vital part of our society. You know, my pastor a long time ago said that the church is the hope of the world. And it kind of like struck me a little bit because I have a nonprofit called Bread of Life, and I'm a part of other nonprofits, and been supporting a ton for a long time. I'm like, that kind of sounds selfish. Like, nonprofits also, but the more I like look at what the church was designed to do in the New Testament, the church truly is the hope of the world. So find a good church, get to know the leaders. If you trust them, then you should give.
Yeah.
You should be a part, because that should be your home, and you should want others to be a part of. Also, think about the services they're giving you. You know, I don't look at it that way, but like, I mean, kids ministry cost us a ton of money. If your kids are in kids ministry, that is costing us money every single weekend, right? Think about all the snacks and the drinks and all that stuff that are taken. Think about the lights that are on. Think about all the different things that
just
cost.
the utilities alone for a
just
building
the
is-
utilities.
Yeah.
And when it snows, paying somebody for snow
Don't
removal.
go there. Don't
Lord
go there.
Jesus,
Still-
more
still
than a
sore
building.
subject here.
Yeah.
So everything, right? It all costs. And I was talking to a couple buddies yesterday, and we were just talking about this idea that, like, we have this, in my opinion, a poor expectation of the church that like everything should just be like free somehow. That like God just somehow gives you all this money. And that'd be amazing. I would love for Mike to be able to come in tomorrow and be like, Ernest, we have 20 million in our bank account. That's imagine what that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen unless
No.
people give.
Yeah.
That's how God chooses to do it. So I would say trust the church. If you trust the church, then be a part of what the church is doing. Be a part of changing lives. And there's no greater ROI, return on investment.
Return on investment.
Right?
That's
so
what it was.
you invest, your return is lives changed for eternity. Is there any greater ROI? No. There's not. The stock market this year, I was talked about that earlier. I'm up like, I don't know, 19% right now. That's amazing. That's awesome. The amount of people who've accepted Christ in our church, I'll always, all day
Greater.
long, give more money to the church than to the stock market or anything else, because I get to be a part. And I'm so excited about this weekend's message. When we planned it, I was not happy because it's the hardest parable. As I was doing research, it's literally regarded as the hardest parable Jesus taught. And so I'm like, great. I have to figure this one
I was
out.
like, whew, this is
Yeah. Why did we choose this one? I'm so excited because it's just about this. Like, would you not want to have, I'm not gonna go into it, but would you not want to have your life being regarded as someone that you helped others get into heaven because of your generosity?
Yeah.
Not just because you shared your faith.
Right.
Not just because you served.
But because you were
because
generous.
You gave. Man, so I would just say learn to trust the church. And you've probably been in bad churches. I get it. Totally get it. I don't get that personally because I've only been in 2 churches. And the first one was the one I found Jesus. And did they have issues? Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, every church has challenges, but I saw very healthy stuff, especially with the finances. And then I've been in ours. And I think we do a pretty good job of being transparent and giving and all of that stuff. So if you've been in a bad church, I get it. Don't get scared off. Learn to trust. And if you trust, be a part. It's your family. It's your home. Be a part of making the home better.
How would you encourage people to take a next step in their giving? What would you say that they could do here specifically at Front Range?
We have 3 steps that we encourage.
Yeah.
Start giving. So we acknowledge there's a lot of us that aren't giving anything. Maybe it's because it's church hurt. Maybe it's because of other reasons.
Yeah.
Just start. What does that mean, Ernest? What do you want? I honestly don't care. It could be $5.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me.
And you honestly don't know.
So literally, Shannon, if you've ever gotten a letter from me because you gave, Shannon just gives me those letters and that's it.
That's it.
I don't know what somebody gave, nothing. And I would bet money that people have, because I've said that from stage, it could be $5. I don't care. I bet money people have given very small amounts just to test. And hopefully they've seen, like, we're still the same people. You can give 20,000. You can give $20. That does not persuade my heart toward or against you
Yeah.
in any way, shape, or form. So start giving. Give consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So the give consistently is super helpful for us because that's the reoccurring giving.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can't do that, right? If you're a real estate agent, that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
If you're something like that,
Mm-hmm.
that's tough because
Mm-hmm.
you can't bank on what you're going to get tomorrow type
Yeah.
thing. But if you have a consistent pay in your job, then consistently giving allows us to properly budget for the future. To like look ahead and go, we know we'll be able to do these 3 things next week because of this consistent giving.
Yeah.
So consistently giving is massive. And then growing your giving. So, we've said this before, the floor in the Bible for giving is 10%. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't ever see anybody that's like, oh, just give, $1.
Yeah.
We'll be like, oh, what about the widow's mite? She literally, that was all she had.
That's everything.
So
she
let's-
actually gave everything.
Yeah.
Not just
So let's not talk about like how
10%.
much. We're talking about like your sacrifice type thing.
Yeah.
So the floor is 10%. But Jesus calls for all of who we are. Now,
Yeah.
that does not mean Jesus is saying empty your bank account,
Mm.
or give the widow's mite and give everything that you have. But he is saying you got to constantly grow.
Yeah.
So for Sarah and I, like that's a constant because we're definitely above the 10%. And every year we're like, okay, how do we grow?
Mm.
How do we grow? Because I don't ever want to get stuck. I would love to be at a place in my life that when I pass away, we're giving like 40, 50, 60% away
Mm.
because we've just learned how to live within our budget. And then every year we just creep up a little bit. So even if we just creep up 1%, like that may not be a lot in our the number, but it's a lot in our budget.
Yeah.
When you go 10 years from now, that's 10% more that we've taken away from living off of and we've given to the church.
Yeah.
Like that would be stinking awesome.
That would be
So
really cool.
that's what we do. And so we just say, and we just encourage people, just grow in your giving. The number doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just grow in it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do I need whatever streaming service right now? It's $9 a month. I don't need it. Then give that $9 to the church. That's not a ton of money. That's not going to help us pay off the building. It helps your heart get closer to the heart of God.
Yeah. I would say for us, like in Brandon and I's marriage, the giving is a non-negotiable.
Mhm.
We had to get there though. I grew up
Yeah.
as a Christian, and so I just always like giving was a non-negotiable. Like, no, you tithe, like
Mhm.
that's it. So I budgeted for that. Brandon didn't grow up like that. He didn't grow up a Christian, and so for him, it was something he had to really come to, and he wrestled with it and he struggled with it, and I think he even just started going to God and being like, I want to be more generous, Lord. Change my heart.
Mhm.
Help me. And so now it's like we would like to do that too, where we grow. We started at 10%. It was like, okay, we're going to give 10%. We're going to save 10%. We live on the rest,
Yeah.
but we increase that saving and giving as like every year. And so it just goes up, but it's just one of those things. I think we're talking about it even with our kids, cause they're starting to babysit and like get money. And it's like, how can we teach them? It's just has to be a non-negotiable for you. And if it's not, I think you just have to take that to the Lord and be like,
Yeah.
hey, I need to change my heart on this. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Be careful of that prayer.
I know.
God changed my heart.
'Cause then he
Especially if
does.
you're a husband,
Yeah.
because you're typically, not always, typically what I found is that wives are usually more generous.
Mhm. Oh, that's in our marriage. Yep.
For sure. Like, so Sunday, we're going over, we have this whole like marriage spreadsheet and we talk through all these different things and we're talking through the budget. I'm like, all right, so what are we going to do for Love in Action? And she goes, well, I think we should do this. And I'm like,
It's way
she
more
goes,
than
what,
you.
What was your number? And I was like, that.
Yeah, that's when you don't share. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, no, babe, that's I'm on board.
That is
Yeah.
so funny. That's
Yeah.
totally how it is.
Yep.
I'm always like way higher. And he's like, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
And I would
That's
say a way to
awesome.
grow, take a step, as you said, grow is, there's all kinds of ways to give here at the church people don't even know about. In fact, there's a lot of like, it sounds weird to say because some people think that's strange, but there are a lot of tax advantaged ways of giving that is still giving to the church. It's still the same sacrifice. And yet it's, you still pay less taxes. I talk to a lot of people who say, you know what? A lot of things that they're going to have to pay taxes on anyways. Like, I'd rather give that money to the church, than to the government because I know the church is helping people.
Yeah.
I know the ministry that's happening here and the benefits.
Yeah.
And so I've talked to people, who give out of their donor advised funds, people who give stock directly to the church, which is really easy to do.
Yeah.
People that have given property, they've given cars, they've given, these personal items and things that it's beyond just traditional money because that's what's what they have, it's easier for them. And then also at the end of the day, like they are giving more money to the church because they're paying less taxes on it. And so there are creative ways to do that. I've been meeting with people in the church talking about, giving me ideas of other ways. And so if anyone has questions on that, again, I'd say, shoot me an email. Maybe I should post my email somewhere on this. Because I'd love to talk to you about, different ways to do that, because I think people don't realize that even in giving, there are these little advantages that allow you to give even more because of the way you can give nowadays.
Yeah, and even based on like what your job or what your income or whatever is. Like we had a Major League Baseball coach that donated his car, and it was a car that he liked it.
Yeah.
But when you're at that level, like you're being asked for money all the time.
Right.
So a lot of times guys have their own funds or whatever.
Yeah.
They do different things.
Yeah.
But for him to be able to do that, it's like, that's awesome.
That's
now
cool.
we could turn around and sell that car, and that's exactly what we did. And then we put that money
After I drove it.
That's hilarious.
to the DMV.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys. I thought that this was very enlightful, even for me. And that was awesome. And if you missed the message from the sermon this past week, you can check that out on our series hub at www.frontrange.org.
And be there this Sunday.
And be there this
I'm
Sunday.
excited about this one.
Yeah, no, actually, really be there this Sunday. I think it's gonna be really good. So,
Oh, yeah.
All right,
And if
thanks.
it's not good, blame Johnny.
all Johnny's fault.
That's right.
He's not here to defend
That's
himself.
right,
So,
Poor guy.
all right.
He deserved it.
Poor Johnny.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.